Initially, Pastor Dennis Jones and the Gethsemane Baptist Church over in the Pleasantville area, right on Ship Channel, had a position, staff minister position. We knew some mutual people. Uh, I applied, he was the one that initially brought me to Houston, Texas, where I served a little over 2 years there before getting called to pastor a church in Hartford, Connecticut.
Favorite thing about Houston?
Food. And I'm not even a foodie, but I travel, and you can't beat the food in Houston. It has great soul food and a great diversity of food. Probably not the best Italian food, if you like that, but other than that, food and just, I mean, it's a down home big city. I mean, I just love Houston.
What's on your playlist right now? What are you listening to?
When I left out the office, I had Emmanuel Wilkins. He's a young jazz musician, my favorite. But I listen to just about everything. I love jazz. Uh, I love hip hop. I love R&B, the blues, and of course, I love gospel music. And I'll do a little country every now and then. Zydeco, I didn't know about Zydeco until I moved to Houston back in '05 initially, and so it's one of my favorites to listen to as well. We're right here in the birthplace of Zydeco music, just right close to Frenchtown and all that. So uh, I enjoy that as well.
Read any good books lately?
Most of the books I'm reading are for school right now. They all been pretty good, but I am reading. I read over the Christmas break. It was a book on Joseph Jackson, Reverend Joseph Jackson. He led the National Baptist Convention for 29 years. Most people the book kind of talks about the fact most people forgot about him because he had a sharp disagreement over the civil rights with Dr. King. But this book kind of is a balanced portrayal of him. We're not just known for one era or season of life. It kind of talks about his life, and it kind of mirrors a lot that was going on with the Great Migration, a lot that was happening in Chicago, a lot of the history of the Baptist Convention. So it's been I'm not finished with it yet, but it's been a pretty fascinating read so far. New Pleasant Grove was really has roots dating back to around 1920, but our official date we recognize is in 1928. Started out, always been in the Fifth Ward community. Started out on Meadow Street, moved to Lowndes Avenue. 60s, moved over here to the Bank Street location. We believe New Pleasant Grove is the place to be, place you can believe in God, belong to His family, and become just like Him. We have a strong community emphasis, a strong congregational care emphasis, and a big focus on children and teens. And so it's a great place to be, and we're grateful that God has allowed us to be around for almost 100 years. So just a little bit about the Grove, as we like to call it. Historically, if you look at pastoral theology, particularly from an African American perspective, all the way back to the antecedents of African religion, uh, when we got on those slave ships, that congregation on the slave ship still looked to the priest as a leader to speak a word and to represent God in those trying circumstances. And James Harris talks about this fact that scholars agree that that role of the priest was transferred to the black preacher. And so our calling, which makes pastoring from a black perspective different than perhaps other communities, is that we have a lens that has always been engaged and invested in social transformation. Uh, Part of that's due to just lived experience. If you look perhaps during the post World War II era here in America, when they talk about the greatest generation and all of the economic benefits that people were able to enjoy. Well, our community did not benefit in the same way from those early FHA loans, other job opportunities, and all of that. And so, our experience you can't ignore those needs. And our lens is not one that only looks at salvation in terms of personal piety, where you are saved, go to heaven, just worry about your spiritual condition. We always look at it as being interwoven, and it's biblical. When God delivered Israel from Egypt, He didn't just say, have faith in me and y'all straight, stay in slavery. No, He literally freed them from, oppression. And so that's the lens. It is a spirituality that is grounded in our experience, and also has to see social transformation. Favorite part of ministry, I'm a preacher, so I love preaching. The favorite part is people. It's That's the challenge and the joy. I really love people. I really get that from my dad. Being close with him and watching him pastor. Uh, and a lot of my view on ministry also, he exemplified that. He was very community oriented and just down to the practical sense. He showed me, everybody is human. Doesn't matter your education, the money you have, your position. He kind of treated everybody the same way and was comfortable with, the homeless person on the street, the people hanging on the corner, as well as, dealing with politicians and business people. They all just, people, and we're here to serve. So, I mean, I really love people. So being out amongst people, the relational aspect, that's the joy, and it's the challenge, because one, you have to realize it's a humbling thing when you realize that so much is out of your control. As much as you want to help people, you're personally limited on some things. But that's where your faith kicks in. Also, you people are not always kind in return. And so it's challenging when you try to serve people, and uh, they can work against you sometimes. But at the same token, I don't let that bother me. You stay focused on what you're called to do, which is to love people, not being a doormat, but to love people, and just stay true to your mission. So that's my joy. And then watching people in crisis, the basic things that every Saturday, if you go through a black community, that's when black folks tend to have funerals. And watching people that you care about grieve and mourn, regardless of the age. People have been married a long time, their spouse died, and dealing with that life, or people who die early. I mean, grief is just that takes a toll on you. And then watching people where they have potential to do better, but they just have not yet made those changes in their life that keeps them stuck, keeps them held back. So people are the joy, and people are also the challenge. I mentioned my father,
What's his name?
James Chun Turner Sr. He passed away back in 2013, but he's the strongest influence. And he had a couple of friends I grew up under, Pastor James Thomas, who's retired now, Jefferson Street Baptist Church in Nashville, Tennessee. My dad, of course, pastor New Hope Baptist Church in Nashville, Tennessee. And he had another close friend, Pastor Curtis Goodwin, in Nashville, Tennessee, Watson Grove Baptist Church. Those are probably uh, my strongest influences, as well as many other pastors from what was known as the Nashville City Missionary Baptist District Association. Those are my roots, and those pastors, they probably had the strongest influence on me up close. Of course, uh, Dr. Benjamin Mays, how he combined ministry and the academy is a model. Dr. King, of course, is an influence. Also, my former president at Colgate Rochester Crows Divinity School, Dr. Marvin McMickle. He's another one that combined, scholar practitioner. He has D-Min, PhD. He's the one that encouraged me to, even now, to get back in school, work on a PhD at Hampton after I finished the doctor of ministry under his leadership. But he kind of embraced scholarship and very practical. He's a pastor at heart, but also a scholar. and combine both the pulpit and the academy. Making the complex simple and relatable and not stuck in an ivory tower. Very, very strong influence as well. And there are many others. I can't name them all. I'm always inspired by several pastors. Um, I can't remember all the names, but those are some that really stand out. Well, the Defender Network, I mean, you guys on the cutting edge. I want to thank you all for the work that you're doing. Keep it up, especially as we enter into a new term with Donald Trump as president. We need these alternative voices and stories to, bring to light issues and people and concerns that perhaps a lot of other media outlets are not covering, do not care about. So, hats off to Defender Network for all that you do. You are important in times like these. All right. So this is the courtyard here at the church. Just a nice little green space. Come out and meditate, fellowship out here, and probably the centerpiece out here is old Cornerstone. Before it was a cornerstone of the church, before they added on to it, and you can see, New Pleasant Grove organized in 1928, and the new edifice when the church moved here on Bain Street was erected in 1964. So when they added on to the church, this current sanctuary, they moved this cornerstone here to the courtyard. And so here you can see our founder, L.C. Cryer. This church came out of Pleasant Grove. So hence New Pleasant Grove. Pastor Cryer was there. He formerly pastored Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. Um, Here you'll see O.L. Holiday. This was Jennifer Holiday's dad, who pastored this church. On his leadership, there was a fire when we were on Lowndes Avenue, which resulted in New Pleasant Grove moving to Bain Street. As you go down on Lowndes Avenue now, you'll see Lowndes Unity Baptist Church. That was the site of New Pleasant Grove, and we were once one church. And so some of the members stayed and formed Lowndes Unity. Then the members who came retained the name New Pleasant Grove here on Bain Street. I think one final point I'll share, John Broussard. So this dates back to some of that family is one of the founding families of the church. So there's a lady of our church, Miss Marie Broussard. She's the last living founder. Her mother and father were charter members of the church, and she's 103 now. And she still comes to church just about every Sunday, walking on her own, still full of life, sharp, all of that. People don't believe her age, but she's still amongst us as our last living founding member of the church.
What's up with the bell?
The bell, it's the bell. Time to come to church.
All right.